Joseph Stalin, who ruled the USSR from 1924 to 1953, carried out industrialization and collectivization accompanied by repression, the creation of the Gulag and mass starvation that killed millions. The Great Terror and other purges led to the deaths and arrests of millions. The total number of victims of his policies is estimated at between 9 and 20 million. Making the Stalin era one of the most tragic and mysterious in the history of the Soviet Union. In this video, we will also look at the circumstances of Stalin's death in 1953, the official and speculative reasons for his demise, and the reaction of the people and party leadership of the USSR to his passing. Official cause of death. Stalin died on March 5, 1953 at his residence in Kontsevo. The official cause of death was declared an acute stroke, leading to paralysis and subsequent coma. According to eyewitnesses and doctors, Stalin became ill at night, but doctors were called only a few hours later. He spent the last days of his life surrounded by his closest associates and personal physicians who fought for his life, but without success. Speculative causes of death. The most common theory suggests that Stalin may have been poisoned. Lavrentiy Beria, one of Stalin's closest associates, is often listed in these speculations as the main organizer of the plot. There is speculation that Beria used a poison that caused symptoms that looked similar to a stroke. Support for this theory comes from the claims of some members of Stalin's family and entourage, as well as Beria's own later confession before his execution, although no credible evidence has ever been presented. Another theory suggests that although Stalin did suffer a stroke, his death may have been hastened by a deliberate delay in medical care. According to this theory, his closest associates, upon learning of Stalin's serious condition, may have decided not to rush to summon doctors, which aggravated his condition and led to his death. Such an act could have been motivated by a desire to get rid of the dictator without directly participating in his assassination. There is also a version, according to which Stalin suffered from a number of chronic diseases that could have led to his death regardless of external intervention. It is assumed that the long years of power and the stress of running the state had a negative impact on his health. However, the lack of detailed medical records and limited access to them make this theory less debated. Some researchers have suggested looking at the impact of Stalin's psychological state on his health, suggesting that paranoia and stress may have contributed to the development of serious illnesses, including those that could lead to a stroke. These speculative causes of Stalin's death continue to be the subject of debate among historians, researchers, and the public, as access to complete and reliable information remains limited. Reactions to Stalin's death. Stalin's death on March 5, 1953 caused a massive wave of grief among the population of the USSR. Many people took the news of his passing as a personal loss in those days. The radio and newspapers played mourning tunes and messages, and on the streets of cities people gathered to discuss what had happened. Many cried. State bodies and organizations organized mourning events, including mass meetings and processions. Memorial events were organized in Moscow and other cities, where crowds of people flocked to express their condolences. Nationwide mourning was declared throughout the country. Stalin's death also opened the way for a power struggle within the Soviet leadership. In the first hours and days after Stalin's death, a redistribution of power among top CPSU officials began. Lavrentiy Beria, Georgy Malenkov, Nikita Khrushchev, and other prominent party figures began maneuvering behind the scenes in an effort to strengthen their positions. There was much intrigue and conflict during this time, as each of the contenders for power tried to take Stalin's place as the main leader of the Soviet Union. Stalin's death led to significant changes in the politics and social life of the Soviet Union shortly after his death. The process of de-Stalinization began, most clearly manifested in the thaw under Nikita Khrushchev. Many victims of Stalin's repression were rehabilitated, and the harshest methods of governance and political persecution were condemned and gradually abolished. Thus, Stalin's death caused not only deep sorrow among Soviet citizens, but also intensified the political struggle for power, which eventually led to significant changes in the political system and social life of the country.
Thank you for being with us. Subscribe to our channel for more fascinating stories from the past.